Geography. Russia's vast landmass lies in the easternmost of Europe and the northernmost of Asia. With an area of 17,125,191 square kilometers, it is the largest country in the world. 11% of the total land area in the world belongs to Russia. It has 11 different time zones. The time difference between the two ends of the country is 10 hours. The total land border is 20,241 kilometers. It is the country with the most neighbors. It has 16 neighboring countries in total. Official language is Russian. There are 27 different regional languages in total. It has a population of 146,063,946. It is the 9th most populous country in the world. Its capital is Moscow. About 10% of the population lives in Moscow. It is the second most populous city in Europe after Istanbul. Lake Baikal is Russia's largest lake and the world's largest source of fresh water. Russia is a cold country. Only 35% of its land is habitable. Russia is so cold that some northern cities have heated garages so that car engines do not freeze. In summer, the temperature can go up to 37 degrees. In winter, the temperature can drop to -68 degrees. 20% of the world's forests are in Russia. Although 10% of the arable land in the world is in Russia, it has a very short harvest time. Therefore, the majority of fruits and vegetables are imported. About 23% of the world's freshwater resources are located here. There are 23 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, 40 UNESCO Biosphere Reserves, 41 national parks and 101 nature reserves in Russia. It covers the northernmost tip of Eurasia. It has the fourth longest coastline in the world, with a length exceeding 37,653 kilometers. Russia lies between latitudes 41 degrees and 82 degrees north and longitudes 19 degrees east and 169 degrees west and stretches for approximately 9,000 kilometers. Russia is larger than the three continents by landmass and has the same surface area as Pluto. Military. The Russian armed forces are divided into the ground forces, the Navy, and the aerospace forces, and there are also two independent arms of service, the Strategic Missile Troops and the Airborne Troops. As of 2021, the military have around 1 million active duty personnel, which is the world's fifth largest, and about 2 to 20 million reserve personnel. It is mandatory for all male citizens aged 18 to 27 to be drafted for a year of service in the armed forces. Russia is among the 5 recognized nuclear weapons states, with the world's largest stockpile of nuclear weapons. Over half of the world's nuclear weapons are owned by Russia. Russia possesses the second largest fleet of ballistic missile submarines, and is one of the only 3 countries operating strategic bombers. Russia maintains the world's 4th highest military expenditure, spending $61.7 billion. Energy resources. Russia has been widely described as an energy superpower. It has the world's largest proven gas reserves, the second largest coal reserves, the 8th largest oil reserves, and the largest oil shale reserves in Europe. Russia is also the world's leading natural gas exporter, the second largest natural gas producer, and the second largest oil producer and exporter. Russia's oil and gas production has led to deep economic relationships with the European Union, China, and former Soviet and Eastern Bloc states. For example, over the last decade, Russia's share of supplies to total European Union, including the United Kingdom, gas demand increased from 25% in 2009 to 32% in the weeks before the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Russia relies heavily on revenues from oil and gas-related taxes and export tariffs, which accounted for 45% of its federal budget in January 2022. Tourism and economy. According to the World Tourism Organization, Russia was the 16th most visited country in the world, and the 10th most visited country in Europe, in 2018, with over 24.6 million visits. Russia was ranked 39th in the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report 2019. According to many tourists, it is a place where almost no one speaks English and they are not very friendly. Russian is the 8th most spoken language in the world and the alphabet they use is Cyrillic. According to Federal Agency for Tourism, the number of inbound trips of foreign citizens to Russia amounted to 24.4 million in 2019. Russia's international tourism receipts in 2018 amounted to $11.6 billion. In 2019, travel and tourism accounted for about 4.8% of country's total GDP. The currency of the country is Russian ruble. 100 Russian rubles is equivalent to $1.65. It has the world's 11th largest economy with a total gross domestic product of $1.48 trillion. The minimum wage is 15,279 rubles. It is $253. According to statistics, 15% of the population is below the poverty level. Bribery in public office is quite common. Education. Almost all adults are literate. Russia grants free education to its citizens by constitution. The Ministry of Education of Russia is responsible for primary and secondary education, as well as vocational education, while the Ministry of Education and Science of Russia is responsible for science and higher education. Regional authorities regulate education within their jurisdictions within the prevailing framework of federal laws. Russia is among the world's most educated countries and has the third highest proportion of tertiary-level graduates in terms of percentage of population, at 62%. It spent roughly 4.7% of its GDP on education in 2018. Also, a 2012 study found that more than 30% of all deaths in Russia were associated with alcohol. It is the country with the highest divorce rate. Swimming in icy water is quite normal in Russia. On the day they call the Holy Baptism on January 19th, people create an ice hole in places such as lakes and rivers, pray and dive into the ice-cold water 3 times. There is much more to tell about Russia. If you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.